Okay, so like Pastor Peter said, we're continuing our summer series on God, bringing God to the movies. And this week our movie is The King's Speech. How many of you have seen it again? Okay, so if you haven't seen it, I'm going to give you a little synopsis. And if you have seen it... So, here's a little recap for you, and then we're going to show the trailer for you. So, The King's Speech tells the story of the man who became King George VI, the father of Queen Elizabeth II. After his brother abdicates the throne, George, also known as Bertie, reluctantly assumes the throne. Plagued by a dreaded stammer and considered unfit to be king, Bertie engages the help of an unorthodox speech therapist named Lionel Globe. Through a set of unexpected techniques, and as a result of an unlikely friendship, Bertie is able to find his voice and boldly lead the country through war. So here's the trailer for you. Alright. So like King George, it might be difficult for us to say that we have a voice. We might think that our opinions aren't as important as other people's opinions, or that our ideas just aren't good enough to share with everybody else. It's easy to be in the mindset that your voice just isn't good enough to be shared. So let's look at Exodus again at one of our friends, Moses. And Moses is struggling similarly to the way that King George did in the movie. So in Exodus 4:10, Moses says to the Lord, "My Lord, I've never been able to speak well, not yesterday, not the day before, and certainly not now, since you've been talking to your servant. I have a slow mouth and a thick tongue." So here Moses is telling God that he can't do something that God's already called him to do. So God is saying, "Moses, you can do this," and Moses is replying, "God, I can't." That's pretty gutsy, isn't it? To tell God that he's wrong about your abilities? Yeah, well, if you think about it, we do the same exact thing. How many times have we decided not to do something that we knew God would want us to do, or even that God called us to do? How many times have we gone into a grocery store and seen someone we know and knew we should go talk to them, but instead we just go to the next aisle and pretend they didn't see us? Yeah, we've all done it. I did it yesterday. I constantly see myself telling God no or not right now because I'm too scared that I won't be able to show up and do what he wants me to do. So, continuing in Exodus, God responds to Moses. He said, "Look, I'm not a very good speaker. How is Pharaoh ever going to listen to me?" The Lord said to Moses, "See, I've made you like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. You will say everything that I command you, and your brother Aaron will tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites out of his land." The awesome thing about God in this passage, and also in our lives today, is that he's not asking us to do anything outrageous. He's not giving us an impossible task, and he's not saying that he won't help us along. He gives us the steps, and he gives us exact directions and help that we need to do his work. So we don't need to be the best at anything or be perfect at whatever he asks us to do. All that God asks of us is that we show up. And when we show up, God will take all of our fear, all of our insecurity, and all of our imperfection and toss it away. It's really easy for me to tell myself that I'm following Jesus. I'm really good about showing up every Sunday and making small talk between services and then going home and I'm good for the week, right? No. So if that makes me satisfied, it tells me that I'm not going out of my comfort zone and using my voice like God wants me to. Instead, I'm living for Jesus in my own comfort zone. There I find myself again, thinking that what I'm comfortable doing is all that I'm capable of. I hear myself saying, "There's no way I can do that big thing that's set in front of me," or "There's no way I can preach a sermon on Sunday night." But 2 Timothy says, can we put that verse up there? Okay, 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline." So God doesn't want us to be scared. He's not trying to scare us in the task that he gives us to serve him. He's trying to give us that spirit of power, love, and self-discipline, like the verse says. So when these situations come up in our lives that seem impossible, we have to ask ourselves if we're willing to show up. Once we say yes, God will do the rest. God will give us the script to read our speech and the voice to speak the future voice. I don't want you to be scared of doing something that you seem ill-prepared for or that is new or different to you, but you simply have to be willing to use your voice. Also remember that your story could change someone else's life, and so don't be afraid to share that story and use your voice to share it. Adam of Shaw's resurrection story. I don't know if you know him, but he's a member of our church, leader of our youth group. His resurrection story has certainly changed my life. And since he couldn't be here tonight, I'd like to read it to you now.